Well, good morning and a very warm welcome back to Bergen. We're getting ready for the Women's Junior Individual Time Trial. The weather's a little bit different than it was yesterday. There's a chill in the air, there's a little bit of rain around, but not too much. But we're enjoying being here in this beautiful city. 12 degrees centigrade, there is no wind at all, so that's really going to help the riders today. And we're getting ready for this junior women's time trial. 47 riders will be taking to the start line. Here's a look at who has won this race previously. And there's some big names who have taken this title. Colin Swinkles took a superb victory last year. Chloe Dygert, who's already a world champion now on the track and an Olympic medalist as well. As we take a look back at last year, Colin Swinkles, in the sunshine of Doha, put in a storming performance. Her time, 18 minutes, 21.77. Colin Swinkles took the rainbow bands, a very emotional day for her. Lisa Mozzenti was in second place for Italy. Juliette Labousse of France was in third place. So let's take a look then at the course. 16.1 kilometers of racing. They do a loop. It's a rolling course, as you would expect, before they race back into the centre of Bergen. It'll loop round there at Sandviken, and then the finishing line, just on the other side of Bergen from where we are now. So it's not going to be anything like the course that we saw last year. Totally flat was last year's circuit. This time it's going to be a real test for these riders. All the final preparations being done. That will be one of the Italian bikes, who the Italians normally ride Team Sky's former bikes. And there's our start ramp where the riders will be rolling down. The first rider will be starting at 10:35, Alessia Vigiglia of Italy. She'll roll down the start ramp to get this time trial underway. There she is. The Italians now back in all blue. And Alessia about to get onto her time trial bike. The Azzurri blue of Italy. They've got some good riders in this individual time trial. And there's the rundown of the start list there on the left-hand side. We'll pick out some of these riders as we go through so that you can get a good idea as to who might be the main animators of this individual time trial. But you just never know with this junior racing, and also if a rider is super motivated and comes from Norway, then you might get a little bit of a surprise in this individual time trial as well. Lots of nations represented. And Alessia is about to get underway. Has had her visor cleaned perfectly. Has got all the trick bits on that skin suit. Just has to concentrate hard now. We'll roll down the start ramp and get this individual time trial underway. Off she goes. Remember that the juniors are on restricted gears. Alessia Vigiglia of Italy now underway. So they're on restricted gears, so they have to really use their high cadence, get into the aero tuck, and use every little advantage they possibly can to keep the momentum going. Our first competitor from Ethiopia about to get started. This is Zaid Hailu about to get onto the start ramp. One of the emerging African nations in cycling. And you will notice as we go through, some of the top nations have got so much advantage when it comes to the aerodynamics. But Ethiopia's Zaid Hailu about to get underway. You can just see straight away that they've got their normal road tops on. They don't have the budgets that the top nations have. So immediately, Alessia Vigilia has an advantage with the equipment, but it's good to see that the Ethiopian rider here has got a time trial bike. Sometimes you'll see some of the smaller nations even have to ride their road bikes, but slowly but surely the equipment is getting there. Oops, just a little bit nervous. Just losing that little bit of concentration. It's a big, big moment for any junior rider. You suddenly go with, as you can see, following motorbike camera, the bikes, the police bikes and everything. You go from riding just normal, and wonderful to see that we've got coverage all the way through this tunnel, which is pretty unusual. Normally when we go into the tunnels, we have to wait until they emerge from the other side. So great to see what the broadcast team have done here to make sure that you can follow the riders all the way through the tunnel, all the infrastructure here, to make sure we can keep a good eye on the action. Well, she's already into her rhythm now, and as you can see, immediately a little bit of a climb, keeping the cadence really, really high. And coming out of there into the sunlight, as we see our next rider about to go. This is Kanirat Kesalongang, who rides for Thailand. Does have the skin suit, so it's got the aero hat and the skin suit, compared to Zaid Hailu of Ethiopia, who just had the normal helmet to wear. And our Thailand rider onto those cobbles. It's a little bit of a tricky start. You come off that ramp immediately onto the cobbles. You want to get onto those aero bars as quick as you possibly can. Into the tunnel with the rider from Thailand as we go back to the start with our first rider from Kazakhstan. And this is Anzela Soloveva. Almost the same as the Astana road team kit. And our Kazakhstan rider about to roll down the start ramp and get underway. It's got the disc wheel in the back and got the deep section carbon fiber wheel in there on the front. Just having a last minute check of the shoes to make sure they're done up. Just clicking the shoes into place. Good concentration.
1 minute 30 intervals, and we will have
just making sure that she's straight as she gets ready to go and rolls down the ramp to the greeting of the crowd. Solovyeva of Kazakhstan is now underway, our fourth rider to take to the start. Well, yesterday we had big, big crowds around the circuit. Today we've got the same. We're enjoying some holidays as we see Alessia Vigilia making her way up towards the first intermediate time split. And we'll see how she's doing after this first split at 3.2 kilometers. Working hard on these uphill sections. For the juniors, they want to try and stay in the saddle as much as possible and just keep the cadence very, very high. 36 kilometers an hour, 5 minutes 20.09. And our first rider from Mexico here, Andrea Ramirez, about to get started.
Yep, she's the silver medalist from the Junior Pan American Championships this year.
There's no under-23 category in the World Road Championships for women yet. I'm sure it will come. It's happened in cyclocross.
5:20 was the time for Viglia at the 3.2K mark.
Last little bit of concentration before Andrea Ramirez rolls down the ramp. Ramirez safely underway. Now the weather forecast says that it should just stay like this. We shouldn't get a shower during this time trial. We had a little shower earlier on. Coming up to the first intermediate time split. Ailu keeping a really nice cadence. And not too far outside the time of the Italian rider. Nicely staying in the aero bars. This is a tough little climb on this circuit. But 20 seconds down after the first 3K. Now, many of the African nations get hosted at the UCI school down in Aigle. On the right-hand side in the screen, you can see the American rider, Abby Youngworth, who rides for the fantastic team of Team 2020, powered by Ride Biker. Her motto is, do what you know, and when you know better, do better. In fact, Ailu coming up here now to the time split. I thought she'd gone through that split, but hadn't, so 1 minute 6 down. Abby Youngworth underway then, rides cyclocross, rides criteriums in the United States of America, rides for the team of 2020. And about to get started now, Lauren Dolan of Great Britain, comes from Devon. Very talented young rider, about to get underway. Says she's looking forward to today's racing, that she's ready for the World Championships, and as you can see has got all the advantages that the British cycling team have with that skin suit and the aero hat. Big deep breaths. We'll have done our warm-up, the same as all the other riders, to make sure everything is ready. And the long aero socks. Big bump down, isn't it? But Lauren Dolan now is underway here in Norway. Immediately clicking through the gears. Look at that, you can see the thoughts that go into the aerodynamics. A very different start by the British rider. Just thinking, even just keep your chest low onto the bars to cut through the air, even when you're not on those aero bars. It can shave even a second off because you are keeping yourself in that aero tuck. The rider from Thailand finding this climb a little bit hard, Kestong Lang, and he's going to be around about a minute and a half down on the Italian rider, Vigilia. But safely through that first intermediate time split. She's struggling a little bit with those glasses that she's wearing, every now and then having to adjust them. But you can see that potentially the riders that will set the pace will be Youngworth and Dolan in the first few riders that we're going to see. Solovieva emerges at the top of the climb. It really is a hard start to this individual time trial. 3.2 kilometre point. As we go on the right-hand side to the start of Justa Juskivaita of Lithuania. Still, Alessia Vigilia of Italy is the leading rider at the first intermediate time split. And 59 seconds down for Solovieva. Canadian rider about to take to the start then. This is Erin Atwell. Nice to see all the school kids who are out here. And Erin Atwell with that BMC racing bike. So she's about to get underway. This is her last season as a junior rider, Erin Atwell. She did ride last year in Doha, as you probably heard the announcer in the background just say. She comes from Victoria. Erin Atwell about to get underway. She's a national champion on the track. As we see her fly out of the starting area, we're seeing the arrival of the Mexican rider Ramirez at the intermediate time split. Ramirez goes through second fastest time. Erin Atwell is underway for Canada. Into the tunnel. Bergen surrounded by tunnels, and incredible the way they've managed to manage the traffic around here. I mentioned yesterday that all the roads have got bike paths and running path pretty much alongside them. In the mornings you'll see lots of us going out for a quick run to just wake ourselves up ready for today's racing. Whoa, and Erin Atwell. It's a little bit of a swooping corner. When you come out of that, you can make a big mistake. When you come out of that tunnel, you emerge with a lot of speed. And that's Martin Jos about to get underway. The arrival of Abigail Youngworth, 33 seconds down on the Italian rider, who's really setting a very, very good tempo. The start then of Anastasia Kolosava of Belarus, the 10th rider to start. 47 riders will take to the start line. It's great to see so many young junior women taken to the start, and not often in the past we've been able to see this junior women's time trial, so great to be able to bring this to you. Arriving then, look at the speed. You can see the cadence of Lauren Dolan, using every gear on that bike to keep the speed as high as possible. And she's really keeping that cadence very, very high. She's going to be close to the time here of Vigilia, who's set a very, very high standard for the rest of the riders to beat. Lauren Dolan then is over the top of the climb, making her way to this intermediate time split. Nicely in that aero tuck. And now she's looking to try and beat the time of Abigail Youngworth, the United States of America rider. It's a long, long climb. You've got to judge it right. As Lauren Dolan passes there, 22 seconds down, the second fastest time. Well, a big moment here for this Norwegian rider comes from Horten, which is south of Oslo. And the Norwegian fans greeting her here onto the start line. The start of Martin Jos. Martin Jos will be greeted all the way along this course. Well, Bergen has said that they want to inspire as many young riders as possible with these championships. It's exactly what they're trying to do. And looking out across Bergen, surrounded by water.
Belgium always coming with strong names.
Here's our first Belgian rider, Alana Kastrik, the 12th rider to take to the start. And on the left-hand side, Juska Vaita of Lithuania, reaching the intermediate time split. The start of Alana Kastrik underway for Belgium. Very, very fast start. And Alessia Vigilia has now reached the 11.5 kilometre point. It's 17 minutes 2.10. On to the start line then for France's Jade Wheel.
Et en ce moment, la plus rapide au kilomètre 3.2 et 11.5, Alessia Vigilia de l'Italie avec un temps de plus de 22 secondes d'avance sur Lauren Dolan.
Jade Wheel just starts her computer. Jade Wheel underway. It's a fantastic crowd, isn't it, here in Bergen at the start line. They are really giving these riders a massive lift. On a canyon low-profile bike, Jade Wheel goes into the tunnel. The riders getting ready here, being looked after. They'll have done their warm-ups. They don't want to get here too early because it's a little bit cold. You can cool down very, very quickly indeed. Here's the standings then after 3.2 kilometres. It's the Italian rider setting the pace. Britain's Lauren Dolan in second. Erin Atwell has just gone through third fastest time for Canada, and Abigail Youngworth of the United States of America there in fourth place. This is Keston Lang behind and Ramirez at the front. Back to the start line then, as riders wait their turns. Next rider to start, Ariana Gilabert from Spain. Underway then for the first Spanish rider. Fourteen riders have now taken to the start line. Well, last year it was Carlin Swinkels of the Netherlands who took the title, arriving at the next intermediate time split. In fact, this is just out on the course. This is Abigail Youngworth, who's been setting a good time out there on the course so far. Marit Rijmakker's about to get underway.
Can they do it again? Well,
last year, Carlin Swinkels dominated the racing. She looked superb in the style of Marianne Vos. But Marit Rijmakker's about to get underway. We'll roll down this start ramp, get into that tuck, try and get the cadence as high as possible. Dutch riders perform well generally in this sort of championship. We think back to previous winners, but it has been mixed around a lot. Colin Swinkels was the winner last year from the Netherlands. Chloe Dijkert was the winner in 2015. Before her was Macy Stewart. You may remember her, the talented Australian rider. And I must say it's great to see Macy Stewart back riding her bike. She took that break. Onto the start line is Daria Malkova. This rider could be one of the favourites from Russia. It's the Ethiopian rider then, Zaid Hailu, is coming in now to the 11.5 kilometre time split. The pace set by Alessia Vigilia of Italy. And the Russian riders, the last time they took the victory, I think was quite a long time ago, was possibly Olga Zabelinskaya, I think, if we go all the way back.
Settling over the mountains here in the harbor.
So this Russian rider, I think, could be one of the top performers here this afternoon. Olga Zabelinskaya won in 1997 in San Sebastian in Spain. Daria Malkova going into the tunnel. The arrival at the finish line of the first rider. This is the Italian Alessia Vigilia. Round that corner we're getting used to now, and then fast swooping downhill finish. She's really put the pressure on everyone else from the start. She's still the fastest rider at the intermediate time split. The arrival then of Vigilia at the finishing line. She arrives in a time 23:26.10. Well, Alessia Vigilia has set a pretty high standard then for everyone else to follow. If you'd like to message me, please join me on Twitter at @McCrossan, ANTMCCROSSAN is where you can join me. Thanks for all the messages that you've been sending. Hope you're all enjoying the racing so far. Solovyeva of Kazakhstan arrives at the intermediate time split with the second fastest time, 19:30.84. As we see Hannah Ludwig of Germany taking to the start line. Now this next rider could be a rider to take a medal. She's a very, very fast time trialist indeed. Letizia Paternoster of Italy, silver medalist in the European Championships. Bronze medalist in the European Championship road race. She's already seen her teammate, Alessia Vigilia, take first place so far back at the finishing line. So Letizia Paternoster could be a rider to take a medal today. The arrival of Ramirez at the second split, second fastest time, 18:53.58. She makes her way over the cobbled section. Letizia Paternoster is about to get started. It's like a little bit of rain at the start now, and a little bit of rain falling here at the finish. Well, I said though the rain should have disappeared, but you can never tell in Bergen. And Bergen, you can get rain at any time. 300 days of rain a year. It's going to make things on the cobbles a little bit slippy. Hopefully, there will just be a passing tiny shower. Let's see the eyes of Letizia Paternoster as she concentrates hard through that first turn. Takes it perfectly. 18 riders have started. Our next Ethiopian rider, Sadkan Kasahun, is about to get going. Here's the American rider, Abigail Youngworth. Around that turn onto the cobbles, second fastest split. Sadkan Kasahun is about to get moving down the ramp. Here in the background, you can see the riders having their gears checked. That's what those little blocks are over there on the right-hand side. They run the bike across them to check that the rider has got the restriction on the gear. They're not allowed to use over a certain ratio. And the Ethiopian rider, Sadkan Kasahun, is underway. Scott supporting these Ethiopian riders, so they've got their aero bikes. And the rain is definitely falling now.
I wanted this race from Alicia Vigilio. I think if we had a winner from start number 1 from the first number, because if it's not raining now,
a rider on a spare bike. And that is Lauren Dolan. So she's had a problem on the course. She's now not on her aero bike. Unless it was a decision, I wouldn't have thought it would be a decision to change bikes from her aero bike to her road bike. And our next rider about to start from Bermuda, Alicia Rose. Alyssa Rose. Counting down then to the race start. The rain is falling. Our rider from Bermuda. Great to see a rider from Bermuda taking part in these championships. Alyssa Rose. She's been riding. I'm just taking a look here at Hailu, making her way into the split. Disappointment then for Lauren Dolan, who was hoping to ride very well, but she's obviously had a problem out on the course. Whether it was a puncture or a crash, I'm not sure. Haven't had an update on that, but behind here is a lot of riders still warming up. There's a big warm-up section available for them, so they can go from their own rollers in here to keep the legs nice and warm. Chaniporn Batria of Thailand is set up here on the start. And the arrival at the finish line of Hailu, 4:52 down, 34 kilometers an hour.
52 seconds.
Chaniporn Batria about to get started. Thanks to Magnus Backstead, who's spotted that Lauren Dolan has got ripped skin suit on the right-hand side, so she's had a crash and had to have a bike change. With this rain falling now here in Bergen, these roads, particularly on the cobbles and on the hot mix, there's a little bit of section of new tarmac, can be very treacherous for these riders. Solovyeva now coming in to complete the course onto the cobbled section. And here is the Canadian rider up to the top of the cobbles then. The fastest finishing time so far, Alessia Vigilia. As we see the arrival then of Solovyeva of Kazakhstan making her way in towards the finish. And Vigilia has really set a very strong standard for everyone to beat. No one is getting anywhere close to her yet. 3 minutes and 8 seconds down at the finishing line for Solovyeva, who goes second fastest. And now we see Ramirez of Mexico in towards the finishing line. The Indonesian rider about to start. This is Leontin Setiawan, 22nd rider to take to the start. Setiawan of Indonesia underway. And the arrival now of Ramirez, still getting nowhere close to the time of the Italian rider. The Italian's so strong in this discipline, 2:32 down for the Mexican rider. First Japanese rider, Masuzu Shimoyama, onto the start. Riders are just trying to keep warm now. Next 2020 rider about to make her way up onto the start line. That's Summer Moak. Summer Moak's a very good criterium rider. So still it is Alicia Vigilia who's the fastest rider at the intermediate time splits. Although I'm hearing out on the course that Letizia Paternoster has gone quicker, the Italian rider. And that's not a surprise. Letizia Paternoster is a very, very fast time trialist. I expect her to be challenging for the medals. The Japanese rider gets underway, Masuzu Shimoyama. The arrival of Abby Youngworth, the first of the 2020 riders to complete this course. And it looks like she's going to be close to the second place overall. Vigilia is still going to be in the gold medal position. Youngworth arrives 2:24 down with the second fastest time. Her teammate takes a big deep breath there. Marina Kunasova of Kazakhstan, the 24th rider to take to the start line. Really is going to be problematic for these young riders. We already know that the British rider Lauren Dolan has crashed. Here she is. Oh yeah, as you can see, all the way down her right-hand side. That's a very bad crash that she's had, a lot of road rash. Very well done to that young rider to even continue on this time trial. She's going to need a lot of attention from the British cycling medical team to look after those road rash wounds. They always look worse than they are, but well done to Lauren Dolan for even completing this time trial. There she is. She's going to come up to the course and she is going to even challenge for the second fastest time. Despite crashing out on the course, she is going to be the second fastest rider. Lauren Dolan, 2:17 down. Just shows you what it means to ride these World Championships for a young rider. That's a superb ride by Lauren Dolan after a big crash, which we didn't see out on the course. Summer Moak asking for her time for start. The Mexican rider about to take to the start line. This is Cynthia Covarrubias of Mexico. The arrival then of Castric of Belgium, the third fastest time at the 11.5-kilometre split. Covarrubias about to get underway. Out on the course, just to update for you then, the fastest rider through the first intermediate time split is now Letizia Paternoster. The fastest rider through the 11.5-kilometre point is Alicia Vigilia. She's also the fastest rider at 16.1 so far. And she leads at the finish. The French rider then. They're taking risks, aren't they, despite that little bit of rain that's falling. This is the French rider, Jade Veal. As we turn our way back to Covarrubias of Mexico getting started. No aero bars, no aero bike for Covarrubias. The arrival of the Lithuanian rider, Juskavaita, who is trying to challenge for the 5th place so far. And crosses the line now with the 5th fastest time, 2:50 down. Out on the course with Erin Atwell, who's been riding very well so far. Just down on the time of the Italian rider. Erin Atwell still riding strongly. Coming up now towards the finishing line. Atwell has got the 2nd fastest split at 11.5 kilometres. So she looks to have been accelerating. She was 5th fastest through the first time split. And now she is rolling in towards the finishing line. She looks like she can eclipse the time of Lauren Dolan of Great Britain. Erin Atwell of Canada hits the line, 2:02 down, 2nd fastest time. Summer Moak underway for the United States of America. A very strong rider, the national time trial champion of the United States of America as a junior. But he's ridden some pretty big races, including the Healthy Aging Tour and other such races. Summer Moak, very, very talented indeed. This young American rider could take a medal here. Rides now for the 2020 team. Comes from Texas. Lives now in California. Into the tunnel for Summer Moak. She's secured many national records as a junior rider. Coming out of that tunnel, that's a really tough little turn. 11.5 kilometre point with Gilabert of Spain. Just having to fight the bike round the corner a little bit. Was 2:12 down, 10th fastest time at that point. Onto this little cobbled section. Out with Rijmakers of the Netherlands now, who's 3rd fastest. Still the Italian. Vigilia is the best rider through the time split at the finish. Oh, the Australian rider starts. Madeleine Fasnacht comes from Hobart in Tasmania. Gold medalist in the Commonwealth Youth Games. Just locking the bike up a little bit through that corner. Kolosava of Belarus making her way in towards the finish, fighting the bike, just trying to get all the pace out. Almost there now, staying in those aero bars. 23:26.10 is still the time to beat. 6th fastest time for Kolosava of Belarus. The start then of 5 Georgie. Now this rider from Great Britain's very talented, won the Ghent-Wevelgem and was 2nd in. Van Borsele has been really riding well in the Junior Nations Cup. Be interesting to see how she does in the time trial compared to how she has performed in road racing. She's certainly a bike racer. But Pfeiffer Georgie about to get underway for Great Britain.
So at our 3.2 kilometers, at the Nosta, Vigilia Ludwig. At 11.5, Vigilia Riel and
Pfeiffer Georgie underway, rolls down the start ramp. Leticia Paternoster still the fastest rider through the first intermediate time split. She's the rider. The arrival of the German rider, Ludwig, after 11.5 kilometres. Ludwig, I think, is going to be the 3rd fastest rider. Well, she's certainly 3rd fastest rider through the first split. here she comes. Ludwig now arriving at 11.5 kilometers. The arrival of the Norwegian rider Jos, 3:08 down, 8th fastest time. Still the fastest rider at 11.5 kilometers is Alessia Virgilia of Italy. No one is getting anywhere close to her time. The arrival of Kastrik of Belgium now, who is going to, I think, just beat the time of Lauren Dolan. So Kastrik of Belgium hits the finishing line, 2:11.88, third fastest time so far. Ola Kulinich of the Ukraine off the start ramp. And the arrival of Ville of France coming round that final turn in towards the finishing line. Jade Ville of France is going to, I think, set the second fastest time. This is a very, very good performance by this young rider from France, but still the Italian rider is going to be top of the leaderboard. She's going to topple Erin Atwell, and she goes second fastest. The Finnish rider, Vivi Puskala, the 30th rider to take to the start. Just to update you then on the finishing line, Alessia Virgilia of Italy is the leader. Jade Ville of France is second, Erin Atwell is third. Out on the course, as we see the rain falling much more now, confirmation of the intermediate time split at 11.5. It's Virgilia, Ludwig and Ville. Atwell certainly accelerated over the closing half of that. Some of these young riders are going to have to deal with this rain now. Take it steady through the corners and accelerate on the straights. And the Finnish rider into the tunnel. Back with Leticia Paternoster. Well, 5th fastest. I'm really surprised about that. She was really going well out on the course. So at 11.5 kilometers, Leticia Paternoster, having been the fastest rider, is now the 5th fastest rider. Summer Moak keeping the tempo on. This young rider is certainly one of the most talented American riders, and certainly a rider that people are noticing across the world. The start then of the Slovenian rider, Karin Penko. Last little bit of concentration. Well, they would have only ridden this course in the dry. Many of them were out yesterday. Now they are going to see the course completely different. So Rijmakers heading now towards the finishing line. Taking the run in now to the conclusion. Leticia Paternoster really has dropped away from the lead. Rijmakers of the Netherlands. This is going to be a good performance. The time to beat still nowhere near anybody getting close to it, and I can't see right now anyone who's out on the course anywhere near the time of Alessia Virgilia, who's gone out early and has set the standards. Rijmakers hits the line with a second fastest time, 1:14.56. And the finishing line then, the top three in the hot seats: Alessia Virgilia, Italy; Marit Rijmakers of the Netherlands; Jade Ville of France. 4th place, the Canadian Erin Atwell, as we see Gilbert finish. And the start now of Stegvilaita of Lithuania.
Silver at her national championships this year.
We also have a good starter at the second last number, which is Emma Cecilia.
There's our hot seats. 2 of them in there at the moment. Marit Rijmakers hasn't made her way there. Alessia Vigilia has a long wait right now. Stegvilaita of Lithuania underway. Thanks for your messages, Paul Jean. Thank you. Who do I think's a tip for the girls' time trial? We've still got some very good riders to go. The last few riders to start: Elena Peroni, Emma Jorgensen, Leah Tutenberg, and Sophie Harsh, I think, could be in the medals, or should be in the medals. Well, Malkova also 107 down. Some pretty amazing how no one is anywhere close to the time of Vigilia of Italy. Malkova really taking every corner very, very steadily. This is Malkova of Russia, making her way in towards the finishing line. I would have expected a faster performance by Malkova of Russia. Keeping the pace on. Nice style on the bike as she crosses the finish. 4th fastest, 1:44.86 down. Here's the arrival then of the German rider Ludwig. This could be the 2nd fastest performance by Ludwig of Germany, picking up the tempo then. Vigilia is still going to be almost 40 seconds ahead, even more than 40 seconds ahead. Ludwig arrives at the finish, 39 seconds down, 2nd fastest time. This is Laurie Jusson of Canada. Into the tunnel to get underway. A little bit of encouragement coming from the team car. This is Oksana Salieva of Belarus. If you'd like to message me, at Ant McCrossan is where you can message, just to confirm. Then out on the course at the 11.5 kilometre point, Alessia Vigilia leads, Hannah Ludwig of Germany 2nd, Jade Ville of France is 3rd, and at the finishing line, the top 3 right now: Alessia Vigilia, Hannah Ludwig, Marit Rijmakers. But we still have 12 riders to take to the start line, and some of those riders are very fast time trialists indeed. Elena Peroni, Emma Jorgensen, and Sophie Harsh, Leah Tutenberg. Just went past the tall ship in the background. Just trying to see if Letitia Paternoster has crashed or something, because she's just dropped away. The Belarusian about to get started. Oksana Salieva, 34th rider to start. It looks like the rain has stopped at the start line now. And here at the finish, it looks to have stopped as well. This is Letitia Paternoster. She's still on her time trial bike. There's no signs of a crash. But to lose over a minute to Vigilia is very surprising. Paternoster then making her way into the finishing line. She doesn't have her aero visor on, and that's the only difference from the start. Paternoster completes the course, 4th fastest time. Start of the Swiss rider, Lara Kreiman. The rain is still falling there, though. A little bit. Stopping and starting. It's not raining here at the finishing line right now, so things are improving. A little bit brighter than it was. To recap then, at the finishing line, Alessia Vigilia of Italy, Hannah Ludwig of Germany, Marit Rijmakers of the Netherlands are the top 3 riders. Nothing really has changed down the course, apart from Paternoster going through the first time split faster than her teammate and then completely dropping away, like a minute difference. This is the finishing times at the moment. Vigilia leads 39 seconds to Hannah Ludwig, 1:14 to Rijmakers, Paternoster 1:23 down. She just must have had a bad moment through that time between 3.2 and 11.5. The start then of Emily Udvig. This rider comes from Bergen, so she's on her home roads. She's got massive support here in Norway and in Bergen. This is her training roads. This is where she lives. Everyone wants to cheer her on today. Emily Udvig. She's just going to start her computer, as you can see. Amelia Udvig then getting counted down to the race start. She comes from, or lives in Paradis, which is just on the outskirts of Bergen. She goes to school now at one of the athletics colleges, but previously was at the primary school on the climb that the team time trial went up yesterday. Literally is on that climb. Big moment for her.
Well, that's the beauty in having an extra number of spots on the start line.
Kurnosova of Kazakhstan onto those now little bit wet cobbles. 1:36.95 down. Much different riding on there. The start then of Shauri Bosset of Belgium. Thanks for all your messages on Twitter. @AntMcCrossan is where you can join me this afternoon and today, this morning, with all the information on this race. What do you think? Who's going to win? Are you enjoying watching the junior women race? It's nice to see them get a little bit of TV time. The Belgian rider, Shauri Bosset, the 37th rider to go. Only 10 riders now to take to the start line. Sprints away. You can see how slick it is. A little bit of rain on this slick road. We're in a city centre, which is never a good combination. A little bit of oil on the road as we go out on the course with Amelia Udvig. She goes now to Taknes High School, which is at the very top of the course. So she will be cheered on all the way along the route. She's got the advantage of knowing exactly all the different roads, where the corners are, where the turns are. Rouse of Bermuda in towards the finishing line. The clock there says Kasahun, but it's not. This is the Bermuda rider. This is Alicia Rose now making her way. There we go. We've just swapped it over. Alicia Rose going to be inside the top 20 riders at this moment. Good ride by her. Alicia Rose crosses the line, 3:24 down. So just to update out on the course, you have got still the fastest rider at 11.5, Alessia Vigilia. Hannah Ludwig second, third fastest was Jade Veal, and that's translated to the finishing line. Marie Lenné of France is underway. Just to update on some other nationalities. Actually, I'm now hearing the third fastest time at the first split, Madeleine Fastnacht of Australia. So Fastnacht is going well now out on the course. Looks like Summer Moak of the United States of America. Here's the arrival of Fasnacht. Look at that, just trying to hold that bike through the corners. It's so slick now. Onto the cobbled section for the Australian. This rider is riding well, 20 seconds down. She's caught the rider in front of her, the Tasmanian rider, who wants to go on a training ride with Richie Port, who of course comes from Tasmania. She switched her attention from triathlon to focus on cycling, as we see Sarah Martin, 12th in the European Championships. I think we're going to see a second place performance possibly by the Australian rider Fasnacht. We've not seen her out on the course at all, but she's been riding really well. She was second fastest through the 11.5 kilometre time split just there. So now the Australian rider could be moving into the silver medal position. Madeleine Fasnacht. Other riders on the course, Summer Moak's gone through 8th fastest at 11.5 kilometres. Other fast times that we're seeing. Too many riders getting anywhere close to that performance of the Italian. The Austrian rider, Hanna Gruber-Stadler, 11th in the European Championships, about to get underway. Patria of Thailand almost at the end. 4:23 now, down as he makes the final turn. Safely through all those corners. Thanks to all of you for watching. This is the Junior Women's World Title, 16.1 kilometres of racing. Patria finishes 18th fastest. The start of the Austrian rider, Hanna Gruber-Stadler. 5 for Georgie, turning onto the cobbles. Not really producing a gold medal position ride, 55 down on the time of the Italian rider. The rider we need to see really is the Australian rider. She is going to put herself in the medals at this moment with this performance. The arrival then of the next rider, Setiawan. Just looking up, the aero helmet has slipped down over the eyes. Trying to see where she's going. Setiawan going to be inside the top 20, 19th fastest. And the start of the next Dutch rider, Anne de Ruyter, 8th in the European Championships. We're now getting into riders who I think pre-race would be race favourites. But we don't know now with the change in the weather conditions. Kurnasova of Kazakhstan, 1:47 down. Any moment now we're going to see the arrival of Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia. Kurnasova, 8th fastest time, 37.9 kilometers an hour. This is Kulinic, the Ukrainian rider. It's going to come through around the 8th fastest time. Still riders to start. Marta Jaskulska of Poland is the next rider on the start line. There she is, clicking her feet into the pedals. These riders getting used to the level of racing here at the World Championships, but Marta Jaskulska is 7th in the European Championships, motivated, of course, by riders like Kasia Niewiadoma. As we turn our attention there to the 11.5 kilometre split. Paternoster dropping away. Summer Moak 1:20 down. Virgilia could be the first rider to finish, and there she is, and could be, having ridden in the dry, go all the way through to be the gold medalist at this rate. No one is getting anywhere close to her time. Jaskulska about to get underway. The time to beat, 23 minutes, 26.10. Monty Jaskulska, 7th in the European Championship time trial. Accelerating immediately to get that bike up to top speed. Into the tunnel, big acceleration. The next Russian rider, only 5 riders left to go. Maria Novodskaya, 6th in the European Championships. And Sophie Harsh's bike. And the top places so far, just to update you, Alessia Vigilia, Hannah Ludwig, Marit Reimakers, Letitia Paternoster, Jade Veal, Daria Malkova, Erin Atwell, Marina Kunosova, Elena Kastrik and Lauren Dolan. The arrival then of Summer Moak at the finishing line. Not maybe the performance she was looking for. Summer Moak coming in towards the finish, going to be inside the top 7 riders. Just going to eclipse the time of Erin Atwell. Summer Moak, United States of America. She crosses the line, but this is the arrival of the Australian rider, I think, coming into the finishing line. This is a great performance by Fasnacht. 2nd fastest time, 35.94 by Fasnacht of Australia. The top 3 then now changes in the hot seats. Alessia Vigilia of Italy, Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia, Hannah Ludwig of Germany. Still not seeing anyone get anywhere close to the fastest times. The only rider who looked like she'd get close to Vigilia was Paternoster, and then she just completely dropped away. Novodskaya underway, going through the tunnel. Perfect pictures underground. Thanks for all your messages. David Atwell, no problem. Thank you very much for your message on Twitter. I'm glad you enjoyed the racing. That turn is really causing a few issues when they come out of that tunnel. Really important to keep the cadence nice and high. Try and stay in the aero bars, try and stay low. This is Leah Teutenberg. Very famous name, of course, in German cycling. Leah Teutenberg underway. Leah Teutenberg round the first corner. Only 3 riders left to take to the start. And the arrival then of Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain is perhaps going to make it into the medals, maybe just squeezing that last little bit of effort out. 5th fastest time, 1:16.21 for Pfeiffer Georgie. And Sophie Harsh, just outside the medals in the European Championship, 4th place. 28th in this title last year, but of course many riders move in that last year from junior up to the next level. And Sophie Harsh then about to get underway. Saw her ride in the European Championship, rode a very good time trial indeed. And Sophie Harsh getting counted down the last few seconds and underway. Still not seeing anybody get anywhere close to the times. The fastest time I've seen so far of the last few starters at 3.2 kilometers is Marie Lenay of France, 5th fastest time. So she could challenge. Kilinich of the Ukraine coming in now towards the conclusion of this time trial. Could be inside the top few places, but you can see there, not staying on the aero bars, that's costing time. Kilinich about to complete the course. Kilinich will finish in the 8th fastest time, 1:40 down. Only 2 riders left to start then, and this rider is a real bike racer. Emma Jorgensen, 3rd in the European Championships time trial, 2nd in the European Championships road race. She's very, very strong. Underway for Emma Jorgensen, guided, of course, by Catherine Marsal, who was an hour record holder, world champion on the track. Catherine Marsal has got an incredible group of young Danish riders who are now producing world-level performances. Novolodskaya making her way up to this 3.2 kilometer time split. You can see it just up there at the top of the hill. Time is running out. These riders are finding this opening 3 kilometers incredibly hard. Paternoster still the fastest at that point and losing an incredible 1 minute over the coming few kilometers. Novolodskaya is in the ballpark. That's the closest anyone's got for a long time. 9.67 down. Puskala near the finishing line for Finland. Finland, of course, with Lotta Lepisto taking yesterday that medal. This is the final rider to start. Elena Peroni, the favourite of this time trial, European champion. Puskala is going to be inside the top 20. Puskala was the 30th rider to start, and now completing the course 2 minutes and 18 seconds down. This is the Swiss rider. This is Lara Kreiman. About 11th fastest time onto those wet cobbles now. Working hard to keep the momentum going up to the top of that little climb. The start then of the Italian rider, Elena Peroni. She is the race favourite. Can she now translate that into beating her teammate, who has been in the hot seat since the start of this world title? There's our top 3. Give us a wave. Alessia Vigilia, Madeline Fastnacht, Hannah Ludwig, the top 3 riders. Fastnacht 35.94 seconds down, Ludwig 39 seconds down. Penko 2 minutes down. Penko of Slovenia, 2:15 down at this point. Vigilia went out right on the start, the first of 47 to take to the start, didn't have any rain. And Penko of Slovenia making her way into the finishing run. Downhill now, all the way to the line. Well, it's good to see that we've got so many young riders here taking part in this individual time trial. It bodes well for the future. As we've said earlier on, some big names have won this time trial. Trixie Warwick won it in 1998. in Valkenburg. Nicole Cook, who went on to be Olympic champion, won it in Portugal in 2001. Helena Barker, who's just signed today for Wiggle High Five in 2012. Macy Stewart, Chloe Dygert, Carlin Swinkles, who's already racing at a high level now in the senior ranks. But this rider then, and Sophie Harsh, 24 seconds down at the first split. So that's not Bossert, that's the Norwegian rider. Bossert is just behind. And Amelia Udvig is going to be, has just caught, in fact, has just been caught by Bossert. Bossert actually riding really well out on this course, the Belgian rider, near the conclusion of this time trial. So Shari Bossert is about to catch Amelia Udvig. Let's just bring it back for you so that you know what's going on. Alicia Vigilia leads. She's the fastest rider for Italy. Madeleine Fasnacht from Hobart in Tasmania, second fastest for Australia. Hannah Ludwig of Germany still in the bronze medal position. The arrival of Jusaume of Canada. Jusaume of Canada coming in towards the finishing line now. Catching Steglevaita of Lithuania, who's still sitting on her wheel. You're not really allowed to do that. Just checking out on the course for you. The top three splits are staying the same. Nothing's really changing very much. Still waiting for the arrival of Salieva, Jorgensen and Peroni at the first split. Jusaume finishes for Canada, 11th fastest time. There we are, there's our top three, all smiles still. There's a few nerves, but they're the riders who are safely in. It's Italy, Australia, Germany in the top positions. Now this rider has been riding well. Let's see what the time split is as we see the arrival of Peroni. Well, this is the first rider who's getting anywhere close. The Italian, the pre-race favourite, Elena Peroni now is going to perhaps set the fastest time at the first intermediate time split. Elena Peroni now, oh, the time is going by from Paternoster, again faded, and it's right on the time, 0.84 seconds. New fastest time. Elena Peroni, now can she do what her teammate Alessia Vigilia did? Three Italians in the top three positions at the first intermediate time split. But remember, Paternoster has faded away. It's Fasnacht and Ludwig who have gone forward. And I'm just looking at the time of Madeleine Lenay. Madeleine Lenay of France has been riding really well out on the course. Marie Lenay, sorry, not Madeleine, Marie Lenay. Tenth fastest time at that 11.5 kilometre split for Marie Lenay. So she's faded. She was 7th fastest. She was riding well. But Elena Peroni is now the fastest rider on the course. Sara Martin of Spain is coming in. Thanks for all your messages. At Ant McCrossan is where you can tweet me if you would like to. Mark, thank you for your message. Mark Sans Essen Son, thank you for your tweet. Slara Kramerman, still on the aero bars through the corners. The number 13 upside down that most riders do when they get number 13. They turn it upside down for that little bit of luck, to pour the bad luck out and bring the good luck in. Lara Kramerman back into the aero bars. and going to be somewhere outside the top 10. Just bring it back now to the current standings for you then. Virgilia of Italy leads, Fasnacht of Australia second, Ludwig of Germany third, Rijmakers of the Netherlands fourth, Georgie of Great Britain in fifth, Paternoster of Italy in sixth, Jade Veal of France is in seventh, Kulinic is in eighth of Ukraine, Malkova of Russia in ninth, and Sommermoke of the United States of America in 10th place. For any Canadian fans, Jusaume is 11th, Atwell is 12th. Finnish fans, Puskala is 17th. The other American rider, Youngworth, is in 18th place at this moment in time. But we've still got a few riders left to finish. Novolodskaya of Russia fighting that bike a little bit, but it's such a tough time trial. You can see these little rises that really sap the strength. Racing past the tall ship here in the centre. That's the tall ship Statsrad Lekmul. It's Norway's largest and oldest square-rigged sailing ship. Sits in there, in that area. Bossett is looking pretty good. Bossett then in towards the finishing line, but still got a little bit of a distance to go. And at 11.5 kilometres, still Ludwig, Fasnacht, Virgilia are the top three. Jade Veal was fourth, fifth, five for Georgie. We're waiting for the arrival there of Anne-Sophie Harsh, Tuttenberg, Jorgensen and Elena Pironi. Bossett coming into the finishing line then for Belgium. This looks like it's going to be possibly the fourth fastest or fifth fastest time. Oh, the times go away. Sixth fastest for Bossett, 39.1 kilometres. And De Ruyter safely round that corner for the Netherlands, riding around about 13th fastest. They've got this loop round towards the finishing to go. Oh, here's the Norwegian rider, Emilia Utvik. What a day out she's had. She passed all her school friends who were out at the side of the road when they raced round towards Paradise. They didn't go through it totally, but she will have had a fantastic day for Norway. Emilia Utvik, 29th place. And the arrival of Marie Lenay seems to have faded a little bit. Interesting way of holding those aero skis. Keeps the hands really rested on them, as opposed to gripping them in any way, but it's a nice style. It's working well for Marie Lenay. And coming in towards the conclusion of this individual time trial, still the Italian rider is in the hot seat. 1:29 down, 9th fastest time for Marie Lenay. Novolodskaya in towards this. Oh, that was close, wasn't it? Almost hitting the side there. 4th fastest time for Novolodskaya. She's in the hunt for the medals here. Novolodskaya's time. 4th fastest, 17:44.03. She's got a bit of work to do. Still, Alessia Virgilia is in the gold medal position. She's had a long, long wait. Sarah Martin. Alessia Vigilia was the silver medalist in the individual time trial as a junior this year for Italy. She won it in 2016. That day it was Paternoster won, Vigilia was second, Peroni was third. That was back in June. The average speed of Paternoster that day, 43.155 kilometers an hour. Paternoster was 1 minute and 18 seconds ahead of Vigilia and 1:43 ahead of Peroni. That's the surprise of the performance of Paternoster today. Sarah Martin coming in towards the finishing line then. Sarah Martin of Spain will be inside the top 20. A little bit of a surprise also that she is so far down. 18th fastest, 2:13.81. Teutenberg making her way in towards the cobbles, 13th fastest. Isn't challenging either for the medals. So some of the riders who we expected to be there and take the medals are nowhere near. Still totally dry in this area as Gruber Stadler works her way in towards the finishing line for Austria. Hannah Gruber Stadler, 11th in the European Championships. Is going to be somewhere in the top 20 riders. Thanks very much for joining me wherever you are. And whatever nationality you're supporting, I hope you've enjoyed watching the junior women, seeing their performance out on this very, very tough course. Schools in Norway have got a day off by the looks of things. Gruber Stadler, it's been a tough time trial. The riders will have enjoyed yesterday. Bright sunshine, warm weather. It's now very, very cold here. I can let you know that, even in the commentary box. I'm going to ask the guys where the heating is. And Sophie Harsh around that corner for Luxembourg, 11th fastest time, 1:02 down. They're losing a lot of time in the second part of this individual time trial. That's where everything is disappearing. And Sophie Harsh has accelerated a little bit. And de Ruyter of the Netherlands making her way in towards the finish. I think really it's just a little bit slidey under the wheels, and they're not able to take the risks they wanted to through the corners. And de Ruyter over the top of that little rise, and now fast downhill in towards the finish. 6 riders left to finish now after de Ruyter. Are we going to see that Alessia Vigilia is going to lead this time trial from start to finish? Novlotskaya is fighting on now to try and take this victory. Here is Peroni now, though. Peroni is fighting back, leaning that bike over onto the cobbles. She's 8 seconds faster. Elena Peroni of Italy, 40 kilometers an hour. Behind her is the Danish rider, Emma Jorgensen, who's a minute down, but Elena Peroni, the pre-race favourite, is keeping her pace going. She hasn't faded away like Paternoster did. This is a tremendous performance. She's the European champion. Is she going to add now the world title to her palmares? She's just riding away. Elena Peroni, 8 seconds faster than Alessia Vigilia. Madeline Fastnacht is third fastest at that point for Australia. Hannah Ludwig of Germany, Novletskaya, Veal, Paternoster. So we do have a race on our hands now. The Italian rider is the one we want to see now. She's the fastest rider on the course. Her teammate has been in the hot seat for the entire race. And the finishing line for Jaskulska, 20th fastest. The arrival then of the Russian rider, Novletskaya. She's going to be just outside the medals, so we are still going to see Fastnacht in the medals for Australia. Novletskaya of Russia, fourth fastest, 1:02. At the finishing line, Alessia Vigilia, 23:26.10. Madeline Fastnacht in the silver medal position, 24:02.04. Hannah Ludwig, 24:05.17. Elena Peroni was the 10th replaced rider in 2016 in Doha. And Sophie Harsch of Luxembourg has been riding around about the 12th fastest time. Leah Teutenberg isn't challenging, neither is Emma Jorgensen. So in the hot seats, it's Italy, Australia, Germany. They're the top 3 places so far, as we follow Anne-Sophie Harsch of Luxembourg in towards the finishing line. I tell you, the junior women's road race will be very, very good and well worth watching, because certainly the Italians are strong. Pfeiffer Georgie of Great Britain is very, very good in a road race. Summer Moak, Erin Atwell. There'll be a real fight for that junior women's road race. Back with Anne-Sophie Harsch, not far from the finishing line now. So away, kicks through. Oh, a little slidey in that turn. Anne-Sophie Harsch is trying to give this everything she can. Good speed from Anne-Sophie Harsch. Lovely style on an aero bike. Thank you for all your messages. I really appreciate all your tweets this morning as we enjoy this race. Teutenberg in towards the finishing line then. Would have expected a faster time from Leah Teutenberg from Germany. Going to be outside the top places. Going to be around about 11th fastest, 1:39.04 down. Only 3 riders left to finish. Is Alessia Vigilia going to get gold? Is it going to be silver? That's the big question. I don't think Jorgensen can challenge. So it's all down to Elena Peroni and her performance through the last few turns. And Sophie Harsch isn't going to challenge the time of Fastnacht. So Australia still have a medal at this moment in time. And Sophie Harsch going to be round about somewhere over a minute down. Luxembourg rocking and rolling a bit. Elena Peroni then onto that main road, down past the boat. Looking so quick, isn't she? Not on the aero bars, she goes back onto the aero skis now. Just keeping that cadence high. Great performance by Elena Peroni. And Sophie Harsch over that last little climb. Really saps the strength out of the legs. This is really hurting. And Sophie Harsch of Luxembourg is going to be just outside the top 10. She would probably have expected a little bit of a higher place, 4th in the European Championships. But it's been such a tough turnaround of weather. Elena Peroni, look at the speed of her now. So composed, so relaxed. She has got 1 minute and 9 seconds to make it to the finishing line. Is this going to be the gold medal for the Italian? This would put the Italians as gold and silver and would give the Australians the bronze. They're all watching. Alessia Vigilia, Hannah Ludwig might be the rider who doesn't get a medal here. Elena Peroni is lifting those knees, keeping the pressure on. Has she got enough speed? She's still got a little bit of a distance to go to the finishing line. Alessia Vigilia has sat through 46 riders finishing. In fact, 45 riders finishing. She's had to sit there. She shakes her head. Elena Peroni now is making her way around the last turns. There's still a little bit of a distance to go. It's literally going to come down to about 8 seconds. Alessia Vigilia's got her head in her hands right now. Elena Peroni kicking on. This is going to be very, very tight indeed. Elena Peroni racing for the line. Is she going to do it? Is she going to be the world champion? 6.38 seconds. Elena Peroni takes the world title. Alessia Vigilia, just 6 seconds. She will take the silver. Fasnacht will take the bronze medal for Australia. Jorgensen coming in now as the final finisher for Denmark. 150 down. Jorgensen completes the course. What a time trial. Alessia Vigilia sat through 45 riders finishing before she saw her time beaten by her teammate Elena Peroni. But Peroni had to work extremely hard. 6.38 seconds was the difference. The top three then. Elena Peroni of Italy, she's collapsed on the road, absolutely exhausted with that effort. She had to give it absolutely everything. Alessia Vigilia second for Italy. Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia takes the bronze medal. What a long wait that was. A little bit emotional, but you have to congratulate her. That was a tremendous performance by that Italian rider. Elena Peroni trying to recover now, sitting on the ground. She was the race favourite, but her teammate pushed her to the absolute limit. She does it, she manages to take it. Congratulated by her parents. Lots of emotion there. That was very, very close indeed. And Elena Peroni walking her way back now to the for the finishing interviews. Confirmation then of the result of today. Elena Peroni wins to 23.19.72. Elena Peroni takes the victory, 23.19.72. Alessia Vigilia second. Madeleine Fasnacht in third place. Running through then the top 20 riders. And there's our top 30 for you. And the top 40 riders with the different nations, still within 3 minutes or so of the leader. "47 riders, of course, taken to the start. 45 riders completed the course. Congratulations when they greet each other. They really pushed each other hard, didn't they? Thumbs up from both those young riders. They gave us a great performance today. Here's the highlights. The first rider to start was Alicia Virgilia of Italy. She produced a great performance along the course, setting the standard for everyone else to beat. Her teammate from Italy, Letizia Paternoster, did push her. Madeleine Fasnacht, the rider from Hobart in Tasmania, got going for Australia. Great performance by her today out on this course. Took it a little bit steady through the first turns, but once she got underway, she was very fast indeed. But it was Elena Peroni who was the pre-race favourite. But on wet roads, further on down the course, she really had to concentrate. Virgilia had the advantage of the dry roads, but she still had to put in the big efforts out on the course. Peroni, though, looked good. After 3.2 kilometres, she was only 0.84 seconds ahead. She knew she had some work to do to take the title. Virgilia onto the cobbles on the run-in towards the finishing line, putting every ounce of effort through those pedals, looking really strong, absolutely flying away through the cobbled section. Madeleine Fasnacht doing Australia proud, finding the corners and the turns a little bit slidey, but in the straight she was very fast indeed. The Australian finally finishing to take today's bronze medal. Elena Peroni going through the corners with real confidence despite the slick roads. And at the finishing line, Virgilia, that really high cadence, super quick. She set the standard for everyone else to follow. And the penultimate rider was the only one who could beat her. Fasnacht of Australia completed the course. She sat in the hot seats for a long time, eventually taking the bronze. But it remained to be seen as to whether anyone could beat the Italians' time. And so it was that Peroni had to empty the tanks to get anywhere close to Virgilia and managed to do it just on the finish, taking the world title by just 6.38 seconds. Well, let's hear now then from the new world champion.
Era una giornata incredibile con este titolo campiona del mondo, è incredibile.
Sì, davvero, è davvero una grande giornata. Stamattina mi sono svegliata e mi sentivo bene, il percorso mi piaceva molto, è adatto alle mie caratteristiche, infatti oggi si è visto. Ho dato davvero tutto, sono arrivata all'arrivo con tutte le mie forze e sono davvero contenta di questo risultato.
È la giornata d'Italia, prima e seconda con l'altra atleta.
Sì, tra l'altro Alessia è anche la mia compagna di squadra di club, quindi abbiamo fatto il risultato pieno. Peccato per Letizia, perché se lo meritava anche lei, ma siamo ugualmente contenti.
A word in English, it's an incredible feeling. You are junior world champion. Can you believe it?
No, no, not yet. It is such an incredible day. Really, I feel very, very good today, and yeah, I'm very, very happy for this result.
Because the course is very difficult. It's pretty hilly. It's a good course for you.
Yes, the course is very, very hard, and especially in the first part. And yeah, then the second part is not so climb, but yeah, it's very, very good. I really like this course.
And Italy likes it as well. Alessia is second. It's a perfect day for la squadra azzurra.
Yes, it's an incredible day.
Grazie. Congratulations.
Elena Peroni, the new world champion, giving us interviews in Italian and English. Italian, very happy with her performance today. Her teammate in her club, Alessia Vigilia, pushing her very, very hard today. For the podium, we'll bring you these little highlights. So we wait then for the victory ceremony of today's individual time trial for the junior women. We'll have action of the under-23 men's time trial. Looks like the weather's starting to improve. The sun's come out outside. So we may well have totally different conditions for the men's under-23 individual time trial on a different course where they use this one little loop, but they also use a big loop which takes us over the climb of yesterday in the team time trial. That's the 8th medal for Madeleine Fasnacht for Australia in this level of racing in the last few years. So very well done by Madeleine Fasnacht of Australia. Elena Peroni, Alessia Vigilia, Madeleine Fasnacht will be the medalists. Well, it just shows you that the early time check gave us a good indication of how things were going. The only rider really that didn't perform to the level of that intermediate time check at the beginning was Paternoster. Maybe just suffered after that first split. She was second fastest, but just totally faded away in the second part of the time trial. As we look down from the mountain over Bergen, getting ready for the podium presentation. As we get ready now to bring you the presentation of the Women's Junior Individual Time Trial.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome
So the
to
victory
the award
ceremony then for
of the International
today's
Cycling
individual
Union's
time
Road
trial for
World
junior women.
Championships in Bergen 2017.
Mine damer og herrer, velkommen til medaljeseremonien for UCIs verdensmesterskap på sykkel i Bergen 2017.
Award ceremony of the UCI Road World Championships Women's Junior Individual Time Trial.
Medaljeseremoni for UCIs verdensmesterskap på sykkel, damer junior individuelt temporitt.
The medals and the jersey will be presented by Mr. Emil Moftioglu, member of the UCI Management Committee.
Medaljene og VM-trøya blir presentert av herr Emil Mofioglu, som medlem av UCIs Management Committee.
In third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Australia.
På tredje plass og vinner av bronsemedaljen fra Australia, Madeleine Fasnecht.
Madeleine Fasnecht of Australia from Tasmania. She was the Oceania Road Race champion. She transitioned from triathlon to cycling, a little bit like Richie Port did.
And winner of
Maybe
the
now, if
silver
Richie's
medal,
watching,
representing
he'll go on a
Italy.
training ride with her. That's what she wants to
På
do.
andreplass og vinner av sølvmedaljen fra Italia, Alessia Vigilia.
Alessia Vigilia of Italy, the silver medalist.
In first place, world champion and winner of the UCI gold medal, representing Italy.
På første plass, verdensmester og vinner av UCIs gullmedalje fra Italia, Elena Pirone.
And the gold medal, and the first time we've seen the rainbow bands in this World Championship, now presented to Elena Pironi of Italy. The world champion, Elena Pironi of Italy.
The flowers will be presented by Mr. Terje Mathisen, Mayor of Askøy.
Blomstene vil bli overrakt av herr Terje Mathiassen, ordfører i Askøy kommune.
Now the flowers will be presented. Elena Pironi, the new world champion.
Prizes, including a watch donated by Tissot, will be presented by Mr. Emil Moftjoglu, member of the UCI Management Committee.
Premien inkluderer også en spesiell VM-klokke som er gitt av sponsoren Tissot. Den blir overrakt av Emil Moftjoglu.
Ladies and gentlemen, in honor of the world champion, let's now hear the national anthem of Italy.
Mine damer og herrer, for å hylle den nye verdensmesteren spiller vi nå Italias nasjonalsang.
Congratulations, and once again, your applause for our
Well, a few verses of the Italian national anthem, slightly longer than normal. Congratulations to Elena Pironi, the new world champion. Alessia Vigilia of Italy and Madeline Vasnacht of Australia. That's our podium for today's junior women's individual time trial. Well, that was a great contest between all of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our award ceremony for the junior
Well, the riders will have the usual photographs now.
At 1:05 for the start of the
And the men's under-23 time trial coming up pretty soon here in Bergen.
Ja, mine damer og herrer, det var medaljeseremonien for damenes juniortempo. Om bare en drøy halvtime, 5:05, starter vi den spennende tempokonkurransen for herrer U23. Vær med oss, nyt av sykkel-VM i vakre.
There's our podium of today, our top three riders. Thanks very much for joining us. Join us again here in Bergen for more World Championship action. Bye for now.